If I had to start from scratch, being over 30, 20 pounds overweight and short on time, how would I get lean as fast as possible? Imagine your body is a high performance car, let's say a Porsche. Right now, that Porsche is running with the handbrake on, the tyres are flat and the engine's chugging along inefficiently. My goal, tune that car into peak condition as fast as possible without running it into the ground. Stick with me and I'll show you exactly how I take the brakes off, get those wheels spinning and make sure the engine's running smooth, all while keeping your energy levels high and your schedule intact. This will work for busy men in all walks of life, such as men with families, busy jobs, busy social lives, and without spending hours in the gym or disrupting your life. I'm Lewis, a fitness coach with nearly a decade of experience helping busy men with little time drop body fat, build muscle, and transform their lives without sacrificing their time or careers. Let's dive into the exact system I'd follow to get lean ASAP as soon as possible. Step 1. Start with the end goal. Think of this first step as planning a road trip. You wouldn't just jump in your car, hit the gas and hope you end up somewhere nice. You'd check a map, pick your destination and figure out the best route to get there. The same goes for fat loss. Without a clear goal and plan, you'll waste time and energy wandering around aimlessly. So here's what most busy men do, especially those juggling careers and family, often fall into the trap of starting without a plan. They jump into diets, workout or both, thinking as long as I'm doing something, I'll see progress. But this approach is like driving without knowing where you're headed. You might get somewhere, but it probably won't be where you want to actually be. Some men set vague goals like I want to lose 20 pounds, but without milestones or tracking, they have no idea if they're actually on track. Others focus on arbitrary numbers like I want to weigh 180 pounds without considering what that number actually looks like or feels like for their body. Let's talk about Mark, a client, a 42-year-old financial consultant. Mark came to me completely frustrated. He'd been trying to lose weight for months, but his progress was inconsistent. Some weeks he'd lose a pound or two, and other weeks he'd gain it back. He was doing random workouts, eating what he thought was healthy, and weighing himself obsessively every day. Mark admitted he felt like he was driving in circles, never knowing if he was getting closer to his goal. He wanted to drop 20 pounds of fat, but he didn't know how long it would take or what that actually meant for his body composition. He was overwhelmed and ready to quit. So here's what we did for Mark, and what you should do too. First off, we found the starting point. We calculated Mark's body fat percentage at 220 pounds and 25% body fat. He knew he had a little bit to go to get to where he wanted to be. To reach his goal of 15% body fat, a lean and healthy target for most men, he needed to drop 20 pounds of fat. Instead of focusing on the final destination, we broke it down into weekly and monthly milestones. Losing 1% of body weight per week became his goal, a sustainable, manageable pace. For Mark, that meant targeting 2 pounds per week. Mark could reasonably achieve his goal within 10 weeks. This timeline gave him something concrete and tangible to work towards, and knowing the end date made the process feel a lot less overwhelming. We tracked Mark's weekly average weight, took bi-weekly progress photos, and measured his waist circumference every 2 weeks. These metrics provided a more comprehensive view of his progress than just relying on the scale all the time. So why did this approach work for him? Well, Mark finally felt like he had a clear plan, a map showing him exactly where he was and how to get to his goal. He stopped feeling overwhelmed and started focusing on small, achievable milestones. Within the first 2 weeks, he was down 4 pounds, and by week 5, he had lost 10 pounds and noticed a huge difference in how his clothes fit. By setting a clear destination and tracking his progress along the way, Mark stayed motivated and consistent. He no longer felt like he was aimlessly spinning his wheels. I highly recommend not falling into the trap of setting vague goals or random efforts. Map out your destination by calculating how much fat you need to lose. Setting realistic milestones and defining a timeline makes such a difference. Just like Mark, you'll feel more in control and each small win will bring you closer to your goal. Step 2. Fix the engine. Think of your nutrition like fuel for a car. If you're putting in the wrong type of fuel, or not enough, your engine isn't going to run very efficiently. The same goes with your body. Without the right fuel, you'll stall out before you even reach your destination, no matter how well you've mapped out the route. So here's what most busy men do. They fall into 2 traps when it comes to nutrition. The first one, the extreme dieter trap. Some slash their calories to the bare minimum, thinking they'll lose fat faster. These are the guys eating salads for every meal, skipping breakfast, intermittent fasting, and avoiding carbs like the plague. But guess what happens? They're starving, low on energy, and end up binging on the weekends. Does that sound familiar? The other trap is the convenience trap. Others rely heavily on convenience foods, takeaways, meal deals, and whatever's easiest during a hectic day. Even if they think they're making healthy choices, like a sandwich or a protein bar, they're often overeating or consuming too many hidden calories they're not aware of. Both of these approaches lead to frustration, inconsistency, and ultimately stalled progress. Mark was no stranger to these traps. He started his day with coffee and skipped breakfast to save calories. Lunch was often something quick from a local deli. He figured a turkey sandwich and a bag of crisps weren't too bad. By dinner, he was starving, so he'd eat a massive plate of pasta or order a pizza, as well as snacking on nuts in between. He couldn't figure out why he wasn't losing fat, even though he felt like he was barely eating. When we actually calculated Mark's intake, it turned out he was eating around 2,800 to 3,000 calories a day. 500 more than he needed to maintain his weight. Worse, his protein intake was abysmal, sitting at only 50 to 70 grams per day, if he was lucky, far below the 150 to 170 grams he needed to support fat loss and muscle retention. I mean, no wonder he was struggling to see progress. So here's what we did, and what you can do too. First off, we calculated calories with a small deficit. We started by calculating his maintenance calories, which were around 2,300 per day. To create a manageable deficit, we set his daily target at somewhere around 1,800 calories, enough to lose around 1 to 2 pounds per week, while keeping his energy levels steady. Next, we prioritized protein. Protein became the foundation of Mark's meals. We aimed for 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, which for Mark was somewhere around the 160 grams per day. This helped him keep him full, preserved his muscle mass, and supported recovery from his workouts. We also structured his meals for energy and hunger control. So for breakfast, Mark started his day with a high-protein meal, Greek yogurt, a handful of berries, and a sprinkle of granola. This kept him satisfied until lunch and curbed his urge to snack. At lunch, it was a grilled chicken salad with plenty of veggies, a drizzle of olive oil, and a side of boiled potatoes for the energy. Dinner was a lean protein source like salmon, turkey, chicken, and a serving of roast potatoes or rice with steamed greens. For snacks, Mark kept it simple with boiled eggs, beef jerky, or a protein shake for midday hunger pangs. As I say to all my clients, follow the 80-20 rule. We emphasize flexibility. We said to Mark, let's focus on nutrient-dense, whole foods for 80% of the time, but allowed himself 20% for indulgences, a slice of pizza on a Friday night or a dessert with his kids. This approach kept him consistent without feeling deprived. Mark also started prepping his meals for the week on Sundays. He cooked lean proteins, veggies, and portioned out his snacks, so he always had healthy options on the go, even on his busiest of days. So here's why this worked for Mark. Within the first week, he noticed a significant difference. He wasn't starving by midday, his energy levels were stable, and he felt more in control of his diet. Over the first month, he dropped noticeable fat while preserving his strength in the gym. Mark's secret to this success wasn't about eating perfectly, it was about eating strategically. By prioritizing protein, managing his portions, and allowing flexibility, he stayed consistent and avoided the dreaded diet burnout. So here's some common mistakes busy men make and how to avoid them. Mistake 1 is overcomplicating nutrition. Many men think they need to follow complicated meal plans or eliminate entire food groups, but this leads to frustration and inconsistency. Keep it simple, focus on protein, veggies, and portion control. Mistake 2, undereating during the day and overeating at night. Skipping breakfast or eating a tiny lunch might seem like a good idea, but it often backfires. You'll end up ravenous by the evening and making it nearly impossible to stick to your calorie goal. Mistake 3, not tracking progress. Without tracking your intake, it's easy to underestimate how much you're eating. Apps like MyFitnessPal or MacroFactor can help you stay on track and identify areas for improvement. So here's the key takeaways for nutrition. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to be intentional. Just like Mark, you can achieve sustainable fat loss by focusing on protein, creating a small deficit, and structuring your meals to keep your energy high and hunger low. Step 3, short, intense workouts and optimizing your engine. If your body is the car, then workouts are like the high-performance tune-ups. Done correctly, they can strengthen your engine, making you faster and more efficient. But these tune-ups don't need to take hours. Short, focused workouts can deliver incredible results without disrupting your busy schedule. Most men think the longer they spend in the gym, the better their results will be. They follow the random programs that have them doing 5 or 6 workouts a week, often full of isolation exercises, excessive cardio, or long rest periods between sets. This is like revving your car's engine in neutral. It burns a lot of fuel, but doesn't move you forward. Mark, for instance, thought more was better. He'd spend 90 minutes in the gym, trying to do every exercise under the sun, but he was exhausted. His progress was slow, and his energy levels were tanky. So the solution for Mark, and for anyone short on time, is short, intense strength sessions that focus on the most bang for your buck exercises. So here's how we structured his workouts. So number 1 was prioritizing full body strength training instead of splitting workouts into chest days, leg days, etc. We focused on full body sessions. each workout targeting multiple muscle groups with compound movements like squats, deadlifts, rows, and presses. So this is why it works. Compound exercises recruit more muscles, burn more calories, and build that functional strength as well, all in less time. The 3 30-minute sessions per week, Mark's program included just 3 workouts a week, each just lasting 30 or maximum 40 minutes. This approach allowed him to recover properly while still making progress. Plus, it fits seamlessly into his busy schedule. So the reason this works is because training too frequently can lead to fatigue, especially for men balancing careers, families, etc. 3 focus sessions are manageable and deliver results without burning you out. Another tip is to use supersets to save time. Supersets involve performing 2 exercises back to back without rest. For example, Mark would pair squats with the dumbbell press or rows with planks. This approach kept his heart rate high and maximized efficiency. The reason this works is because supersets reduce downtime, allowing you to complete more work in less time. They also add a bit of a cardio element to strength training, boosting calorie burn. Another tip is to focus on progressive overload. Mark's workouts weren't about doing more exercises, but about improving on the basics. Each week, he aimed to lift slightly heavier weights or perform more reps with good form. Progressive overload is the key to building muscle and strength. It ensures your body is constantly challenged, leading to consistent progress. Before working with me, Mark's gym sessions were long, aimless, and exhausting. When we switched to short, structured, full-body workouts, everything changed. In the first month, Mark noticed his strength improving. His deadlift went up by 20 pounds, and he could start to see the visible muscle definition as well as he dropped fat for the first time in years. And because the workouts were shorter, he didn't feel drained or guilty about taking time away from his family. The key takeaway is to train smart, not long. Intense workouts aren't about doing less, they're about doing more in less time. With just 3 30-minute sessions a week, you can build muscle, burn fat, and be more efficient with your time without sacrificing hours in the gym. Step 4. Daily movement. Keeping the wheels turning. Imagine your own car that uses fuel like there's no tomorrow. It's inefficient, costly, and frustrating. But what if you can make it much more fuel efficient? Small changes like keeping your tires properly inflated or switching to eco driving mode could drastically improve its performance and save you money. Daily movement is like upgrading your body's MPG. It's not flashy, but it's incredibly effective in boosting your overall calorie burn without the need for extra time in the gym. So here's what most busy men do and why it doesn't work. Relying solely on gym workouts is one. So many men think they can out-exercise a sedentary lifestyle. They go hard in the gym for an hour or more, then spend the rest of the day sitting at a desk or on the couch. This creates a false sense of progress. Even the most intense workouts won't compensate for sitting still for 8 to 10 hours a day. It's like driving a car for 1 mile efficiently, then just sitting idle for hours. You're not maximizing your fuel economy. Others turn to endless cardio sessions to burn more calories. While cardio has its place, of course, doing too much can leave you drained and reduce your adherence to the overall plan. So here's the problem. Excessive cardio often leads to burnout and can compromise recovery. Plus, it's not sustainable for most busy men juggling work, family, and all the other responsibilities. Most people overlook the small movements like walking, fidgeting, or taking the stairs. That contributes significantly to daily calorie burn. So here's why it's a problem. NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, can account for a large portion of your daily energy expenditure. Ignoring it is like letting your car sit idle unnecessarily. It's wasted potential. So going back to Mark, my client example, he was a classic example of someone who thought gym workouts were the only way to burn calories. He'd spend an hour in the gym multiple times per week and remained glued to his desk for the rest of the day. Despite working out consistently, his weight plateaued and his energy levels were stagnant. When I introduced him to the concept of daily movement and moving more, it was like teaching him to optimize his car's MPG. He didn't need to rev his engine harder in the gym. He just needed to make small, consistent changes throughout his day to keep his body active. So here's the fix. Set a daily step goal. Just like setting a fuel efficiency target, daily step goal gives you a clear benchmark to aim for. I encourage Mark to start with a goal of 8 to 10,000 steps per day, which you could achieve without drastically altering your schedule. You can break it into smaller chunks, a 10-minute walk after meals, use a fitness tracker to monitor progress, and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine, like brushing your teeth or going in the shower. Walking is low impact, accessible, and easy to fit into a busy schedule. It doesn't feel like exercise, but the compound effect is significant to burning more calories and just overall health. Mark started making small adjustments to his workday that added up to big results. For example, instead of sitting in a conference room for meetings, he took client calls and team meetings while walking. This simple change added thousands of steps to his day without taking any extra time. These small, intentional movements don't feel overwhelming, but keep your body active throughout the day, improving both physical and mental performance. A lot of men use breaks to scroll through the phones or grab another coffee, which is fine from time to time, of course, but Mark transformed his breaks into movement opportunities. He set a timer to get up every hour, even if it was just for a 5-minute walk or stretch. During lunch, he also took a 15-minute walk outside to clear his head and just reset his energy. Regular movement prevents stiffness, boosts circulation, and keeps your metabolism humming. It's like keeping your car's engine running smoothly by taking it for regular drives. Mark started to see noticeable changes. His weight began to drop steadily, his energy levels improved, and he felt less stiff throughout the day. The best part, he didn't feel like he was working out more. He simply made small, sustainable adjustments that compounded over time. Step 5. Recovery and sleep. Refueling the tank. No matter how well you drive or how efficiently you use fuel, if you neglect maintenance, like oil changes or tire rotations, your car will eventually break down. Sleep is your body's maintenance schedule. It's where all the behind-the-scenes repairs happen to ensure your engine runs smoothly. Skip it, and you'll not only slow your progress, but risk stalling out completely. So here's what most busy men do and why it doesn't work. They burn the candle at both ends. They sacrifice sleep for more work, gym sessions, or late-night Netflix binges. This creates a vicious cycle where they wake up exhausted, relying on caffeine to get through every single day, and then crash at night, only to repeat the process. Sleep is when your body repairs muscle tissue, regulates hunger hormones, and resets energy levels. Without enough rest, you'll feel drained, hungrier, and less motivated, making fat loss a lot harder, trust me. Erratic bedtimes disrupt your circadian rhythm, the body's internal clock. Think of it as misaligning your car's wheels. The vehicle still moves, but it's a lot less efficient and wears down faster. A lot of men sabotage their sleep without even realizing it. Late night screen time, heavy meals, or stressful activities before bed, like putting in the wrong fuel in your car. They prevent your body from running at peak efficiency. Mark, the client I keep referencing, was the classic example of burning the candle at both ends. He'd work late into the night, scrolling through emails or prepping for meetings, and then wake up early to squeeze in a workout. He thought he was being productive, but his progress actually stalled. He felt constantly tired, craved sugary snacks during the day, and struggled to pick himself up in the gym. When we actually looked at his routine, it was pretty clear to me. His maintenance schedule was completely out of sync. His lack of quality sleep was like trying to drive a car with a failing engine. It just wasn't working. So we implemented a few simple challenges to prioritize his sleep and get his body back on track. We implemented a consistent, easy sleep routine. First off, we set a regular bedtime. Just like a car needs a regular oil change, your body needs a predictable sleep schedule. Mark started going to bed at the same time every night, even on weekends. This helped regulate the circadian rhythm, making it easier for him to fall asleep and wake up feeling refreshed. Next step was follow a pre-sleep routine. A good pre-sleep routine is like prepping your car for a long drive. It ensures everything runs smoothly. So I got Mark, and as I do with all of my other clients, to adopt the following schedule. 3 hours before bed, finished his last meal. This gave his body time to digest, preventing late night discomfort. 2 hours before bed, stopped drinking liquids to avoid waking up for the bathroom. 90 minutes before bed, turned off screens to reduce exposure to blue light, which disrupts melatonin production. 1 hour before bed, read a fictional book or did some light stretching to relax his mind and body. These small changes helped Mark wind down effectively, making sleep deeper and overall better. Another tip is to optimize the sleep environment, so he transformed his bedroom into the perfect garage for recovery. He kept the room cool around 18 degrees Celsius, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which is ideal for quality sleep. He also used blackout curtains and removed all electronic devices with glowing lights. These adjustments ensured his maintenance schedule was efficient as possible. As we know, we want to prioritize 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. He aimed for at least 7 hours of sleep each night, treating it like a non-negotiable meeting with his most important client. Just like a car's dashboard shows vital metrics, a sleep tracker can reveal patterns and areas for improvement. He used a wearable device to monitor his sleep, which helped him stay accountable. Within a week of implementing these changes, he noticed a dramatic shift. He woke up feeling energized, his workouts improved, and his cravings for junk food diminished. By the end of the first month, his fat loss progress had accelerated and he felt like a completely different person. Step 6. Adjust and monitor, fine-tuning the system. Imagine you're driving that car on a long road trip. You wouldn't just start the engine, step on the gas, and hope for the best without checking your dashboard along the way. You'd monitor the fuel gauge, speedometer, and GPS to make sure you're on track and adjust when needed. Step 6 is all about doing the same for your fat loss journey, keeping tabs on your progress, and making small adjustments to stay efficient and on course. So here's what most men do and why it fails. they fall into one of two traps. Some dive into their fat loss efforts blindly, hoping that sheer effort will get them where they want to go. They never look at the dashboard to see if they're actually making progress. Others panic at the first sign of a plateau, overcorrecting with extreme changes like slashing calories or doubling cardio sessions. This is the equivalent of flooring the gas pedal without checking if there's enough fuel in the tank. You're bound to burn out. Mark also used to fall into the first camp. He avoided monitoring his progress, assuming that as long as he kept working hard, the results would come. But after weeks without noticeable changes, he started to lose motivation. When we began working together, I showed him how small, consistent tweaks could reignite his progress without turning his life upside down. Keeping track of progress is like using your car's dashboard. You need to check a few key metrics regularly to ensure you're moving in the right direction. For Mark, we started with a weekly routine to evaluate his progress. Each morning, we'd make sure he'd weigh himself at the same time, right after using the bathroom. By tracking his weight across the week, we would calculate an average, smoothing out any day-to-day fluctuations caused by things like water retention or stress. This helped Mark avoid the emotional roller coaster of reacting to daily changes on the scale. I know you've been there. We also introduced progress photos. So every 2 weeks, he would snap a picture under the same lighting and conditions. These visual markers provided undeniable proof of his transformation, even when the scale didn't move as quickly as he hoped. For Mark, seeing the definition start to show in his midsection was a huge confidence boost. Finally, Mark took measurements of his waist, chest and arms every couple of weeks. This gave us another layer of data to confirm fat loss and muscle retention. Often, these measurements told the real story when his scale didn't. Another key tip is making adjustments when progress slows. When he hit a plateau around week 8, it was time to fine-tune the system. We started by reviewing his calorie intake. Instead of just slashing his calories drastically, we made a small reduction, cutting around 100 to 200 calories a day. This adjustment came mostly from carbs and fats, leaving his protein intake intact to preserve muscle mass. Along with tweaking his nutrition, we added some extra daily movement. Mark's step goal went from 8 to 10k steps, which he easily incorporated by walking during and taking an even stroll after dinner. These simple changes boosted his calorie burn without adding stress to his schedule. He was initially surprised by how small these adjustments were. He expected major changes. I reminded him that fitness is like a road trip. You don't need to overhaul that entire route every time you hit a detour. Instead, a slight adjustment to your steering is often all it takes to get back on track. Monitoring progress and making small, deliberate tweaks helped Mark reignite his fat loss without feeling like he was sacrificing his lifestyle. By treating his body like a finely tuned car, he stayed in control and avoided the common pitfalls of overreaction and burnout. His steady, sustainable approach ensured that he reached his goal feeling lean, energized and confident, not drained and frustrated. Step 7. Stay consistent and keep the car on the road. Imagine you're on that long road trip. You've mapped out all the journey and know the destination, but distractions and detours tempt you at every turn. The key to getting there is to stay consistent, keeping the car on the highway, even when the road gets tough. Fat loss is no different really. Consistency, not perfection, is what keeps the wheels turning and ensures you'll arrive at your goal. The most common mistake is the all or nothing mindset for perfection, thinking they need flawless adherence to workouts and meals to see progress. The moment they miss a workout or indulge in an unplanned meal, they feel like they've failed. This mindset leads to burnout, guilt, and ultimately giving up. Others dive into their fitness journey without a clear plan, hoping to figure it out along the way. Without structure, accountability, and life's demands often take priority, and fitness goals are pushed to the side. Overthinking and procrastination are also frequent roadblocks. Some men spend so much time researching or waiting for the perfect time to start that they never actually take action. These approaches don't work because fat loss is not about perfection or waiting for ideal conditions. It's about showing up consistently even when life gets in the way. Here's how to stay consistent. Plan ahead and plotting the route. Planning ahead is like mapping out your road trip before you leave. Scheduling workouts, meal prep, and movement into your calendar ensures these priorities don't get overlooked when life gets hectic. Treat these commitments like important meetings that you wouldn't cancel. Busy people, early mornings, lunch breaks, or evenings can work well depending on your schedule. Mark, for example, initially struggled with meal prep and often grabbed fast food during the busy weeks. Once he actually scheduled meal prep time, for example, on Sundays, he always had healthy meals ready, making it easier to stay consistent. It's all about progress, not perfection. On a road trip, potholes or wrong turns are inevitable, but they don't stop you from reaching your destination. You simply adjust and keep moving forward. Fat loss works the same way. Missing a workout or indulging in big meals doesn't mean failure. What matters is how quickly you get back on track. Mark initially had a tough week where he missed 2 workouts and ate out more than he planned due to work deadlines. Instead of giving up, he picked up where he left off the following week. This allowed him to stay consistent in his progress didn't stop. Focusing on progress rather than perfection means tracking overall trends, not obsessing over individual slip-ups. A single day off will not undo weeks of effort, but giving up entirely will. So there you have it, the exact system I'd use to drop 20 pounds of fat fast if I was over 30 and starting from scratch. So number 1 was map your destination, 2, fuel your body with the right nutrition, 3, train efficiently with full body workouts, 4, keep moving throughout the day, 5, prioritize recovery and sleep, 6, adjust and monitor your progress, and number 7, stay consistent. If you're ready to take your transformation to the next level, click the link below to take my completely free body health and performance quiz. It'll show you what's holding you back and give you a personalized roadmap to hit your goals. And before you go, check out this video somewhere over here for more tips to get lean without sacrificing your time or energy.